Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody, welcome back to Chapter 6, I believe, of the First Age, the Doom of Dorthonion. We've had 12 episodes total, but I think 6. No, how many have we had? 6? We did 3.
I think
10,
it was just
10,
4.
10. Yeah, 10 total. Chapters, and this very well might be the end. Because as things do in Middle-earth, all things do come at an end, and often a very sad one. But amongst that sadness, there is a silver lining, and often fodder for songs and great deed of heroism and renown. So with us tonight, playing Terenion is going to be Wanderer, and playing Estedir is Tetnak. We're using the Heroes and Hardship D10 Dice Pool RPG system. Hopefully this will be coming to Kickstarter early next year. Is that right, Tet? Maybe?
I hope so.
So, it's a long road. We've been playtesting it for over a year now. So it's a great system. It's very flexible and adaptable to pretty much any setting, as you'll see tonight. So without further ado, let's get started. Everybody should be able to see Estedir there. Good to go?
Yep. Oh, actually, no. I see a courtyard.
Oh, I didn't move the...
Yeah, your token's in the wrong spot.
Yep. What about now?
He's not it. You need to move him to the same screen. Oh, I guess not necessarily.
Should be fine.
Saw something for a second, but I'm black. I'm just a black screen now. No.
They must have changed something. I had this problem with last game. Let me just change the settings on the actual page real quick.
If in doubt, blame dynamic lighting. It's my...
Yep.
It's easy to do.
There you go.
No, I
Should
don't
be good
see
now.
anything. No, I don't see anything. There you go.
You good now, Wand?
No, it's still nothing for me. But don't worry. This is
move
his scene.
your screen to the upper right corner.
I've got the whole thing visible. Yeah, this is all around here is black for me. Let me refresh.
You can just move his token up into that quadrant.
I'll just move it.
Yeah, I'm just refreshing as well. See if that helps. No, still nothing for some reason.
Even though I moved your token up now. Now you
Yeah.
still can't see it.
No.
Okay.
You can compare his settings to mine.
Oh,
Up
now
now.
I can. Now I can. Yep. Thank you.
All right. Hopefully, I won't have to keep doing this because it's painful. It's weird. All right. Anyhow. And in those waning days of Beleriand, the might of the enemy grew ever greater, and the lords of elves faltered. For Fingolfin was slain, and his sons doubted in their hearts. For indeed, the might of Morgoth was rumored to be greater than it had been, even in his days among the Valar and Aman. But upon a time hope was rekindled. Passing from the choking dust of Infaulis was a rumor of Morgoth's wounds, for even in victory the Dark Lords suffered the wrath of Fingolfin's blade. And it is said that until the War of Wrath, and the enemy was cast beyond the circle of time, he did not leave his stronghold of Angband, for he knew fear, and in time this gave the Nodor hope. But the story of hope is for another day. It is of Beren and Luthien, of Huon the Hound, and of love and loss, and of words of power, and that is for another day. Today we find Estedir. His dark hair clings to his brow, soaked with sweat. His harpist's fingers are bruised and bleeding. They cling to crags and grasp for rocky ground to pull himself higher, higher, ever higher above Gondolin, until upon a time he looks out. His gaze is unfettered. Above the clouds he sees the spires of the Icoriad that surrounds Gondolin. He sees the shapes of majestic eagles circling, ever circling, and momentarily to the north he sees the plains and Falglis, littered with the host of the enemy as they blister and burn their way south towards the pass of Sirion. So you are quite high up in the mountains surrounding Gondolin. If you remember correctly, towards the end of the last session, you burnt one of those fate points and just says, I just want to talk to an eagle.
Yes.
So you've climbed up high towards the Eyrie. You're alone, Terenion is not with you. And that has set the scene, and I'll let you go ahead and go.
So where I've stopped, am I on like a plateau somewhere I can
Yeah.
rest?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me remove that fate point because I had never done it. Okay. So Estedir, as he climbs these crags higher and higher to where the eagles are, finds himself on a outcropping where he can rest. He sits for a few moments, his thin frame shuddering as his shoulders and chests heave over and over and over again as he reclaims his breath slowly. First, his breaths are panicked almost as the exhilaration of such a climb, the danger of it and everything, overtakes him. But soon, as the clouds spread out amongst him, he looks up at the eagles flying overhead, not so far now, and he is taken back to why he came and the hope of what he will receive. He slows his breath and steadies himself, and he pulls his harp and he strums the strings for the first time since they left Dorthonion, and hopes that his music that he plays will summon one of the great eagles to his side so that he could entreat them for a favor.
As you gaze towards the sky, the clouds do part, and the sun's rays come down from on high, and they sparkle on the granite and the rock that you sit on. You're kind of surrounded by this cascading, blinking, glittering light as your fingers play over your harp, and a delicate and beautiful music rings out into the mountains. With the clear, thin air, the notes just drift and drift and drift into the heavens, till eventually, indeed, you do see closer 3 eagles just flapping and circling, and one of them drifts slowly down, circling the mountain, and then finally alighting probably 10 meters from where you sit. The majestic beast at first doesn't say anything at all, and it is perched upon that granite precipice, just idly listening to the music of the harp play.
Estedir continues to play. He plays a majestic song that he had at court only but a few times in the days of peace and happiness. He mostly preferred somber tunes, as this was his manner for so many years, and he thinks back on those times and almost scoffs at himself, not knowing what true sadness was. He's seen death and loss and terrible things here, and now he truly knows what a fool he was for so many years. He looks up at the giant creature and gives a sad smile as finally his fingers move away from the harp strings, and he replaces it on its small sheath and pulls it back over his shoulder and lets it hang off his back underneath his bow.
With a voice that's clear, but both alien at the same time, the eagle kind of dips its head closer to you, Estedir. You can see into its eyes. They're just intense, wise, brilliantly alive orbs of light. Noldor, you have climbed high this day. It has been many long years since I heard such a harp play, and now you've stopped. What is the matter? Is your heart troubled? I know the plains below, the desolation they now call Anfalgleith, is choked with hate. The filth of the enemy spread south. But there is still room for beauty in these mountains. Play more, Noldor. You set my heart on fire with your music.
He looks up at the great creature. Great Lord of the Sky, it would be my pleasure, but for my words to come here to speak to you are more morose than the tunes of my harp. I would only wish to speak to you after you have heard your fill of the notes that I can produce from my strings.
And he listened. He laughs. Even the elves, with their long years and their wisdom, sometimes climb high to treat with us, the messengers of Manwë, the Lord in the West. I shall listen, but know also this. Not only do I listen to your music, Estedir, but the music of the Ainur, the great music that makes this. And he kind of expands his wings, and you can see kind of framed in his wings this giant, majestic mountain range with all of its brilliant lights and snow-capped mountains and green valleys below in Gondolin.
He nods. He doesn't respond. He thinks to himself, yes, the Einar make this place, but what destroys it? And he looks at everything around and just kind of imagines it as Anfalgleith has become. And he brings out his harp and can't help but immediately play a somber song. One of, not dread necessarily, but one of, definitely of sadness and despair. And he will play that as long as and he'll do other tunes as well. Things that he thinks the Eagles might like, which he has really no idea what that is, but he will continue to play until it seems like it is satisfied.
Yeah. And he just says, indeed, I sense the wisdom, but also the pain and loss in the notes of the music you play. You sing songs at first of gladness and of grace, but also great terror and pain, loss. One without the other cannot exist. But now, Estedir, and you might be kind of surprised he knows your name, Estedir, what lies heavy upon your heart? For I am Thorondor, Lord of the Winds, Herald of Manwë.
He blinks several times, a bit surprised that what he is talking to necessarily. He doesn't even realize that it's spoken his name. He's just kind of in awe of this massive beast. Something more than a beast, obviously. Something that he would never have expected to speak to or be in the presence of. He doesn't bother putting his harp away. He just kind of sits at his lap and he says, On the way here, I have seen many things of horror, as you well know, but also things of hope. But I wonder if that hope will be fleeting if it is not cared for and not guided. I could stay here. I could fight. I would die with everyone else. I cannot say I do not fear death, but it is not why I choose a different path. I choose this path because I think that it is, well, the right one for me and the right one for my people. To go east and help shepherd the creatures of the world, particularly those trees that walk, the Ents and the Entwives. For those are who I had spoken to on the way here, and they were traveling east. And I came to assist my uncle, and I will always help him if I can. But for the people of the Noldor and others, the men, the Sindar, all the rest that lie in this Middle-earth and Beleriand, if I die on the field of battle, I do not know who I help. But if I escape this place and aid those who would move east, out of the immediate reach of the enemy, so we can rebuild ourselves, rebuild a defense if we need it. And this is why I have come to you and your kind. For first I wish to know the wisdom of such thoughts, for my mind is clouded with many things. The loss of my kin, the loss of these lands, and the devastation and unbridled hate that comes from the north. So I would ask you, great Thondror, messenger of Manwë, tell me, should I go east? Will you help me do so, or should I stay by my kin's side and likely perish like everyone else?
The eagle's beak gets even closer to you, Estedir. You can sense the breath coming out of his nostrils as he gazes into your eyes. It's almost mesmerizing. But whereas the gaze of a dragon may be somnolent and stuporous, the gaze of Thorondor puts your heart and mind at ease, even if his words may not. You do not act rashly, Estedir. I sense you have weighed your decision over many hours and long days. Do not think that we do not have eyes in the heavens, for I have spied your journey with your uncle from Dorthonia to treat with your lords and even being sent east to Himring, where you sat in the Council of Maedhros. Only then, once the hate of the enemy spilled forth from Angband, was the ruin of Beleriand sealed. And yet you still fight. That part of you surely is worthy of song. But even the bravest elf, even the man with the most steeled heart and iron will, has some weakness in them, some desire for comfort, a warm hearth, the company of friends and loved ones. For you, it may be the peace and the grace of a forest, fertile soil beneath your feet, the deep voices of the Ents and the Entwives. And I also sense that another piece of your heart has already traveled east. Galadriel. She now dwells east of Eriluin, and so escapes the ruin of this realm. How are you so sure that you do not desire to chase her into the east and forget your woes but for a time.
Well, I did not know she was even alive until you had told me so. But I do understand why you would think such, and he really doesn't know how this eagle knows any of this, but he at this point he's just beyond caring why or how. It is as I said before, my heart was heavy, for she did not feel the same as I did for her. But as I have traveled in these weeks and months, I have forgotten about my old old trivialities, and now I know what true suffering is. My heart felt empty without her, but now it feels cold and black with each death I see, from man and elf alike, from the senseless slaughter. No, if I went east, it would not be to find her. I would not mind seeing her, as any of our kind, but no. It is to help those that need my aid, and certainly she is not that one. The Ents, the Entwives, men and elves, refugees that will come from this place, and those already in the east, that I may seek and aid in time. And if we need to raise an army to stop the enemy when he comes east, for as if he is not defeated here, he will. And if all the powerful sons of Fëanor and their kin stay, well, who will go east to raise this army? Who will go east to speak of what they have seen here? Who will go east to help those who cannot help themselves? I would do this. I would take this burden for as long as it is required. Yes, there would be peace for a time as I walk with the Ents and the others of such peaceful naivete, but no, it is hard work that needs to be done.
The eagle backs away from you, Estedir, and he flaps its wing a few times, and his gaze looks skyward to where the other eagles circle above him until he looks back into your eyes. They are gentle and kind. Though I am wise among my kin, the eagles of the sky know many things, Estedir, and the music of the Ainur is always in my ear. Your fate is not up to me. Even the Lord of Eagles cannot see all ends. But I have searched your heart, and I do think that ere the end you have a part to play in all this. Yes, it may be at your uncle's side, but perhaps in the end, in some far-off green land, you will sing songs of the great deeds of the Noldor, of Beleriand, for I fear that it will certainly come to ruin. And he rises into the air, and you feel the clean mountain air beat against you, and your dark hair kind of blows across your eyes. I go now to the west. You will see me again, Estedir. And you see him just fading into the sky with the other two eagles, and they speed off into the west.
Yeah, he looks up at them leaving and gives a bit of a frown from the non-answer and wonders what will come. He assumes they are wiser than him, and he simply begins to climb down towards Gondolin once more.
Later that day, while Estedir is probably still on his way down from the mountain, we find Terenion in one of the courtyards of Gondolin, and in front of him, in drill, on the courtyard are 500 soldiers of Gondolin. Glorfindel and Egelmoth have both chosen and been ordered by their king Turgon to stay in Gondolin. But they have made you familiar, Terenion, with these men and women, their capabilities, their names, their stories. They have gone through the crowd. They have tried to rally them the best that they are able. At time they speak of deeds of glory in the past, of other great battles, and even of times from home in the West, and how that land can be reclaimed at some time in the future. They introduce you, Terenion, and as the sun starts to set, you realize that at first light in the morning, you and hopefully your nephew and these 500 troops of Gondolin will set off to the west until you strike the river, and then north till Tol-Sirion. Whether you march to wrath or ruin or to salvation, it's hard to say. I'll let you roleplay it.
If you can, if I can, I'll see if I can address the troops before we leave.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any fate left?
Yeah, I spent one last time, but I've still got it. I didn't burn it. Yeah, so it's back now, and I can spend it. Is there something in particular you were thinking of?
Nope. Yeah. Estedir, you're kind of climbing back down the mountain and walking in on the scene, so I'll let you enter the roleplay scene as well. But with a TN21 leadership check after your speech, I will let you either give yourself a fate point back or Estedir. It's unconventional, but this is the end game, my friends.
Oh, okay. Right. So, okay, Terenion walks out in front of the soldiers, and his head is initially low, a little bowed. Not his back, just his head is a little bowed over. And he looks deep in thought as he walks out, actually quite consciously. And as he turns, he stops for a second, and every person in the front row, he meets their gaze just for a second, just acknowledges them. So it's a few seconds before he actually speaks. And he draws a deep breath and says, "Over the past day, I have come to know you, and you have come to know me. I stand here now in front of you as your captain. I am Terenion of Dorthonion. That once green land that is now ash and waste and corruption.
Hello.
Under the thumb of the enemy. Dorthonion lies in ruin. The Anfalgleith, where I and my soldiers, my companions, kept watch for these last hundreds of years, is now ash and fire. If the enemy has his way, all of this Middle-earth will soon be ash, dust, waste, suffering, pain, anguish, and hatred. Who shall stand in his way?" And then he pauses, and again he starts meeting just at random, he's meeting the eyes of someone and says, I I will stand in his way. I will stand in his way as he seeks to slay our new High King. I will stand in his way as he seeks to lay waste to Tol-Sirion. I will stand in his way as he seeks to sweep down the river and murder the last of our people who head for the havens. Which I don't know whether they're called havens even, but anyway. I will stand in his way, though it cost me my life. Who will march with me? And he walks over to the first row, and he puts his hand on the shoulder of a soldier and says, mentions the soldier's name and says, "You," and mentions something about their life. You who have stood watch on the walls of Gondolin for the 200 years. Will you march with me? And then he goes round the first row, just a few people at random. And then he turns back to the soldiers and says, and then calls out to all of them, "Who will march with me?"
Make your roll.
Okay. And it's leadership, right?
Uh-huh.
Actually, I'm just going to check if I get any other benefits with my abilities.
Add your status or something.
Yeah, it's quite possible. Rhetoric.
You could use leadership or rhetoric, whichever one you want.
Yeah, I'll have to have a quick look. Laurels. No, I don't get anything to that. Rhetoric is that any better? No, my leadership's definitely better. I'll go with that. Oh, yes.
Yes. They give you several cheers. And they say, "We are with you! Terenion! Dorthonion has been cast down by the shadow, but its brave souls still live on. We will follow you to Tol-Sirion, Terenion, to Fingon, to the house of Fingon. Await our help!" They all cheer.
And Terenion turns at this moment and sees Estedir approaching. And he turns to the soldiers and says, "Here is my nephew, Estedir. His hands would rather be playing on the strings of a harp. But today, and when we reach our destination, they will play on the strings of a bow with equal skill. And I'm going to let Estedir get a fate point back."
It's mighty kind.
How selfless. What does it look like as Estedir walks in?
I kind of imagine he's been standing by for a few moments. He walks in, kind of leans against one of the walls, just listening to his uncle's speech. You can't get the words of the eagle out of his head, and is just kind of reminiscing about the last few, weeks at least. The Ents and now an eagle. And he thinks like, if I die, at least I have seen some amazing things. But he gives a nod to his uncle. He doesn't say anything. Quiet in nature as he has been for these months, and makes a decision that he will follow his uncle after this one last battle, and then he will travel east by himself if he has to.
And Terenion turns and puts a hand on Estedir's shoulder, looks him in the eye and nods. And then he goes to find his horse and lead the march out of here. Not that he'd be able to truly lead it because he's got to be blindfolded, but hey.
Just help me down.
Maybe they could just blindfold the horse. That's fine.
Bill. Bill can find his way home.
Actually, come to think of it, what Terenion will do is most of the soldiers are probably on foot. So what he's going to do is he's actually not going to ride out. He will go back to the stable and he will entrust his horse to the care of the stables here at Gondolin. His horse was born in well this many a year, and he thinks this time may be his last, so he's going to leave the horse here in hopes that perhaps it will find its way to, at least live longer in peace.
What was your horse's name? Do you know the name of it?
Oh, I did come up with a name. I can't remember. Oh, can't find it.
Anyway, we have it noted down.
Yeah.
I would like a line of horses to be named to him. So like when I have my tour game eventually, there'll be one
nice.
named after him, like a great steed or something.
Love it.
And so that night passes, and at first light the next day, you wake and the soldiers are arrayed in brilliant armor. Their capes fly in the wind, and you're kind of down below towards the gate, right? You're kind of looking up towards the palace as you're set to march out, and the sun's like cresting in the east, casting these rays to the west towards your destination. And from up high, you see King Turgon and Idril exit the palace, and she raises her voice in song and starts to sing as you march out of Gondolin. And to you, it's as if her voice is the most beautiful yet sad thing you've ever heard. Her beauty next to Galadriel is probably next to none. I'll let you guys roleplay as you leave, and then we'll head towards Tol-Sirion. She's singing to your army as you guys leave.
Yeah, I mean, Estedir is one to appreciate such beauty in music and song. And he looks up for a while, standing to the side of the columns as they march, and just looks up, taking in the song, a song of beauty surrounded by such horrible things. He gives a slight smile and looks up at the distant figures at the top of the walls and hopes that this place withstands the coming of Morgoth, but secretly doubts it. And knowing that he likely marches to his doom, he continues out, thinking about the east as he does.
In a similar way, Terenion stops to take that one last look at this city that gave him his first feeling of hope since the Battle of Sudden Flame, and he really does seem to be trying to drink it in with his eyes, as if somehow this sight will sustain him. And he stares for a little while at the city, and then closes his eyes and just lets the music kind of drift into his ears and just fill his heart. And then he allows himself one of his rare, true smiles And then he puts a hand to his lips and raises it in the direction of the city. And then he bows his head to Turgon, who probably can't see at this direction, this distance, but you know, he makes the gesture anyway. And then he turns back towards the west and his duty.
Whether you don't get the sense that it's out of forgetfulness, but they don't blindfold you on the way out, and you see the soldiers marching, and you with them. It might even be ominous because they might figure, they're not coming back either way. But it also might just be a sign of respect. And eventually, you and that army do leave Gondolin. Maybe for the last time. We don't know. But you head out of Gondolin. You head to the east. Oh, there's doubles of you. Towards the river Sirion.
Question, Bo. Do you have like fog of war enabled? Is that why these are all gray? I'm just curious.
We can see the other pictures grayed out.
It's interesting.
I don't know. Let me see here.
I don't care. I was just curious because it looks good.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool.
Fog of war off. No. Dynamic lighting.
It doesn't matter. I didn't mean to like interrupt.
What about now? Hey, see if it's still gray or
Yeah,
no?
they went away.
Oh, that's it.
It's explorer mode, whatever that's called.
Oh,
Places
God.
where you've been are grayed out, but you can kind of see a little bit of it. You have to complicate things.
Is this UDL or LDL?
I don't know.
New rolled.
It was forced upon me, probably the new.
Oh, okay.
Anyhow, you and the army travel north along the river, and I can roleplay it briefly if you want, but otherwise we're going to get closer and closer to Tol-Sirion.
I think Estedir would mostly walk in silence, unless Terenion has something he wants to say. You muted, Wander.
Ah, thank you. Terenion will walk in silence for many hours, but when they get to the point where they're soon to catch sight of Tol-Sirion, Terenion falls back slightly and walks alongside Estedir for a little while, and then, as if he's not sure how to say something, he sort of clears his throat and says, "For many years, I must confess, Estedir, I thought little of you. You dwelt upon the sadness in your heart, while I and those who stood watch upon the enemy saw death and suffering. I felt that you had greater... thought more of your own suffering than that of the others, including our people. And But I have seen that over these dark times, the noble soul within you has become clearer. And if we go to our death this day, I am proud to go with you at my side.
Yeah, Estedir just listens to him for a moment. Doesn't say much until a couple of moments after Terenion finishes speaking. He simply nods and says, "Yes, all that is correct. I was selfish. I do not disagree. It's took these days to make me see it. For, yes, I have always been a poet, a harpist, someone who thought more of those things than those of war. And you were that vessel of war. I did not even know it was necessary to do what you did, for we had not seen anything of Morgoth and the enemy for so many years. Even with our long lives, I forgot. I forgot the beginning, our travels here, and the suffering that we had felt. I was distracted, more aptly put. But I won't be distracted today. But I will tell you, if I survive, if we survive, I will head west, or east. For I do believe, if Bellerand falls, and so do the forces here, then the enemy will turn his eyes east, and they will need aid, and I will help them. I will help shepherd those who cannot help themselves. And hopefully, when the enemy comes to the east, if he is not defeated here, then we can match him and throw him back into whatever's left of this place. I hope we both survive, regardless."
Terenion nods thoughtfully. You get the sense that perhaps he doesn't hold out much hope in this this dream of Estedir's, but he does take it seriously and he listens. And at the end, he looks again at Estedir and says, "Know this, whether I should fall this day or survive to join our people further down the river, you will go with my blessing, my nephew." And then he looks like he's trying to think of something else to say, and then he just kind of shakes his head a little and nods once more, and goes back to walking a few paces ahead.
Yeah, Estedir gives a very, very slight smile and continues on after him.
Since you got such an early start, it's most of a day's journey towards Tol-Sirion as you march with the river at your left-hand side. As you get closer and closer to Tol-Sirion, every once in a while, you may hear a crash or even a giant explosion. You may hear the yelling of soldiers in a pitched battle as the din of battle rises and falls. You see a haze enveloping the plains to the north of Tol-Sirion. And as you get closer and closer, you can see flames spring up as the forests that have once around the fortress have been just burnt to ash. And as you get closer and closer, you even see wounded men or wounded elves dead or dying along the trail. Many of them pale in the face, covered in the black blood of orcs. They whisper words of caution, warning that there can be no escape, warning that they are nearly surrounded. One of them even says to Terenion, "Turn back now. The bridge still holds, but not for long. The host of the enemy is great, and the might of the Noldor has faltered. King Fingon is upon Tol-Sirion, and I fear it is there he may fall."
Terenion will have his men do what they can in passing here, like have one or two fall back to help people who are wounded as best they can briefly, and then come and rejoin the troop. And to this wounded soldier he will say, "I thank you for your words, for they are meant kindly. But I can no more turn back than you did. We have our duty to our people, and our duty to oppose the enemy. One day perhaps we will sleep in the halls of Mandos together." And he gives him one of his sort of wan half smiles, and then puts his hand on the man's shoulder, and then turns back and leads the men onwards. Actually, probably at this time he's going to turn to them again and say, "Soldiers of Gondolin, you have seen death along this path, but we are soldiers and no stranger to death. Death awaits some of us this day, but our duty here is to prevent one death, just one. The death of our High King, Fingon. If we are to give our lives, that he may return safely and lead our people, then our lives have been well spent. This is our duty. And in the meantime, we will take many, many orcs with us to our graves. And perhaps, with the will of the Valar, we will win our way free, with the king at our side, to once again know peaceful days." And he gives them his sort of like half smile again and says, "So I will lead you on, and I know you will follow me bravely, and that all of you will do your duty. Let our blades drink deep of orc blood today." And he draws his sword. He knows they're still a way away, but he's gonna lead them with his sword out, because he knows that in this murk of the smoke and everything, it will glow and be a bit of a symbol.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. As the smoke is all around you, and you hear explosions in the distance, and the battle up ahead gets louder and louder. You lead the way, Terenion, from the front, and as you draw your weapon, it's just incredible. This blue light just bathes the Gondolindrum, and you make your way towards the bridge.
Okay, so are there any orcs between us and the city?
Here we go. That's what the scene looks like.
Oof.
So it's like, it's something that's been probably going on for some time. You see immediately there's fortifications, there's picket lines. Far to the north, there's flames that reach high into the air as the sun starts to starts to set, and you see clearly just ragged and beat down hundreds and hundreds of Noldor elves, the garrison of Tol-Sirion, just holding back waves upon waves of orcs, wolves, and other sorts of things that are battering against the fortifications. You can go and talk to soldiers if you'd like. They're kind of in the middle of skirmishes. There's like waves that come and go and that sort of thing. But as you show up with the Gondolindrum, you're certainly unexpected. And you can hear some cheers kind of come up from the ranks of the Noldor of Tol-Sirion.
And as we sort of approach their lines like this, I'll actually order the men to fire a volley over their heads and into the ranks of the orcs, just to give them a little bit of breathing space.
Yeah, that happens, and they all just fire off the ring. You kind of hear them all kind of yell in the dark as the arrows kind of strike true. Breaking back from the ranks is one of the Noldor soldiers, and he kind of runs up to you, Estedir and Terenion. Your help came. Not soon enough, but also in the nick of time. From where do you hail? Your armor, your men were unlooked for, and you are strange indeed.
Hail from Dorthonion, as was. These others, they are from another place that I perhaps should not speak of. But we are here to aid the king. Where is Fingon?
He is inside the walls. He is safe for now. We will soon be surrounded. The only thing that protects the fortress is the River Sirion itself. And if you look to your character's left, to the north of the map, you see what looks like, a dozen elves kind of busy destroying the bridge, elvish engineers, if you would, kind of destroying the bridge, and he kind of gives a plan. We knew this coming a week ago. The woods have been decimated around the fortress, but Lord Fingon has given the order to build ships to flee. We only need to get through the night. We should have enough to evacuate most of the host of Fingon. The House of Finarfin will live, but the Isle of Tol-Sirion, I fear, will indeed fall no matter our actions.
Well, our people are worth more than buildings, no matter how strong, no matter how magnificent. We built this fortress and we can build others. Lives cannot be rebuilt so easily. He says, I will... Do I actually have a letter for the king?
That's up to you. Yeah.
If I could, that from his brother, that would be useful, because otherwise it just occurred to me he had no reason to know who I am or who these people are. Terenion will say, I have a message for the king, and these men have been sent by his brother to safeguard his life. You must go to him.
Yes, my lord. I will take it directly.
Thank you.
And another one of the soldiers kind of breaks from the ranks, and he runs up to Estedir. Quickly to the lines! Without reinforcement, we will surely fail. And if they get to the bridge before it is destroyed, the gates will fall to the enemy. Quickly! Make ranks!
And Terenion will nod to his men and say, form ranks. Swords in the front, bows behind. And he will do the same and kind of like find a place where he can be a sword in front of Estedir.
Mm-hmm. Estedir, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Roleplay wise.
Yeah, he's just listening. He doesn't know anything about military jargon or tactics, so he just gets in behind Terenion and will shoot over his shoulder at anything that gets close, pretty much.
Describe what looks to me as these all these soldiers kind of rush forward and make their presence known to reinforce the lines.
Yeah, so they're fresh, they're in shining armor, and they'll march in lockstep into place, and Terenion will call out to the soldiers of Tol-Sirion. He'll say, "Men of Tol-Sirion, those of you who are weary or injured may fall back and gain some respite. These men, your kin, are here to aid you. We will hold so that the bridge may be destroyed. Find your courage. Stand for your fortress and your people, and we will stand at your side. For the Noldor!"
And as you say that, a great crowd rises up. For the Noldor! For the Noldor! For House Fingon and Tol-Sirion! And one of the soldiers towards the front gives a shout out, and with that, like, there's a great strike of lightning in the distance. And you see, kind of in the darkness, with great red eyes, this huge wolf in the rear ranks. And then you hear the sound of wolves running towards you, hundreds, if not thousands of them. And here we go. So this is going to be mostly abstracted, Terenion and Estedir. Estedir, I'm guessing that you're going to be in the back, at least medium range, to most of the action. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
I always prefer to be at long range.
Okay, long range.
Yeah.
So you can say at long range, you can move your token wherever you want. And Terenion, you can kind of tell me where you are. And just waves upon waves of enemies are going to crash into you. I'm going to make some dice rolls. And that kind of represents how many personally you guys will face. So Terenion, you and Estedir, you can role play your positioning and what you're doing.
Yeah, so Terenion's going to be balancing two things. One is that he's kind of keeping an eye on the men. So anytime it looks like the lines are weakening, he's going to try and dash in, plant his shield, and try and create a bulwark to hold the lines. Because he's very good at being defensive when he plants his shield and just gets behind it. So he's going to use that to keep holding the lines. But whenever he's not doing that or encouraging the men, he's going to be keeping an eye on Estedir, making sure nothing breaks through and gets to him.
And then suddenly, just out of the gloom, just like a wave of fur and claws, just hundreds and hundreds of wolves snarl and leap over the embankments and fall upon the Gondolin and the Noldor from Tol-Sirion. And you hear the shrieks of men crying. You hear the growling of wolves. You hear them yelp as spears and swords are thrust through their breast, through their throat. Terenion, you are splattered with the red blood as several charge at you. And roll me a 1d3.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, yeah. Of course it is. What else would it be?
You have your shield this time, though, right?
Yes.
And 3 of them get through. And so they're upon you. And we're going to roll for initiative. Let me get these guys set up. And let's make sure the initiative is cleared. It is.
That's weird. 0-25? That seems backwards. No, never mind.
You guys all have all your wounds and injuries and things cleared up that should be?
Yeah, I think we all got healed in Gondolin.
Got it.
See, I think I have Keen. I just want to remember. Do I not have it? Melted bows. Okay, I did not have keen. Alright. Cool.
Estedir, you're first.
Yep, I'm gonna put a 0 on there just because it's weird.
Okay. Oh, it's just first, sorry.
Yeah, I'm first. I'm gonna shoot the top left one. I'm at long range.
This one here.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna do a normal attack on that one. Wished I knew. Yeah. All right. Just gonna shoot that one for the first, just without an aim or anything. Bow.
I'll bring up my wolf sounds in the mix.
Let me see. I gotta figure out all the modifiers I get on this. It's been a minute. Let's see, because I have skilled. Okay, it's +2. What else? I have jack of all trades. Okay, that's okay. I think that's it. Oh, I have gear too. 1 second. Just 3 so plus. Oh yeah. Sorry, just 1 second. Oh yeah, I have we have equipment effects too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have.
So
the
Terenion,
stun.
you should have used enhanced senses on yours as well.
Oh, yeah,
on your
yeah.
roll.
Good point.
If you want to re-roll it with that, I'll let you do it. You have to keep
Thank you
the
very
second
much.
one though.
Yep. Yeah, thank you.
All right, I'll delete you off the queue. I'll let you re-roll it because your helmet has gives you a buff.
Yeah, it does. Let me...
Yeah, and as you're in the front lines, the wolves are just dumb beasts. But like the Gondolin and the other Noldor, they see your helmet. What was it called? Helm Laurelin? And they say, the trees of the west are with us. Stand strong.
That's just really weird. I can't actually find the description of it. It gave me like 3 benefits or something massive,
It gives
wasn't it?
you enhanced senses level 2, 4 benefits on initiative.
4 benefits. Wow. Cool, thank you.
Oh man.
4.
Yeah, Serenscape is superior.
Well, it's worked the entire time, so I would agree. 38. That's
Oh.
better. You're up first.
That is better.
Yeah.
All right, Terenion.
Gotta find the... in the meantime, could you send me the description of that helm again? I didn't save it.
Yep, right here.
I've got a
Helm
note
Laurelin.
about it.
There.
Oh, it was a handout, that's why. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, it also has dispel. That's nice. In case we
Yeah.
deal with any vampires or anything.
Vampires again. Oh.
This
Yeah.
is but it's awful quiet.
So, yeah, so Terenion's going to go for the middle one. And I am just going to attack it with my sword. And I get 2 benefits. Okay, 42.
Death. These are minions. They're minions this battle unless I tell you otherwise.
Nice.
Yep. What does that look as he's gone?
Yeah, so the wolves just come hurtling through the gap, and before they've even had a chance to actually tense for a spring, Terenion, having experienced the pain of a wolf bite, doesn't give them the chance. He just steps up to the first one and just his sword just licks out, lightning fast, and just opens its throat. And then he steps back into a more defensive posture.
Nice. So that's just a regular attack.
It was, yeah.
So 3 AP.
Yep, that's what it is.
All right. Added to the queue. Estedir, you're up.
Estedir shoots kind of next to Terenion at the wolf to his left, so the one at the top there.
Ooh, 14.
If it takes any damage, it dies. Plus, if it hits, it takes a ton of damage from me. But
No, it's 15 is its base defense.
no, that's already worked in. It's already worked in.
Oh, it is. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
I always forget that on ranged attacks.
Yeah, it's worked in.
The same thing. Tell me what it looks like.
Yeah, he just shoots it right in the eye. It's like Actually, it's snarling at Terenion with its mouth wide open. He just shoots it down its throat. Comes out the back of its neck. Normal attack, 3 AP.
And Wolf's turn. All right, and he'll do a reckless attack towards Terenion. So this thing just, you're surrounded by 3 of these things. There are other soldiers all around you. They're probably backling up into you, jostling you. And here he goes. Bite. Is that 3 benefits, Tet?
Yeah.
Benefits. 23.
It's going to be a head strike if it hits.
Oh.
You better try to dodge. Your
It is
base
about
is 20.
base defense, yeah. So, can I use my shield?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Hold
that
on.
is...
So is that block parry?
Yeah, it's 1 AP.
Yeah.
So there's the readout on it.
Okay.
I will give you an AP.
Makes a skill check. So what's the skill I use?
Shield.
Okay. It's not on my combat menu, I don't think. Weapons, misc. No. Okay.
Is it not?
I'll just do.
Should be.
I think so.
Should be in physical skill menu.
It can be in physical.
Physical
too.
skill. Oh, I see. Got it.
I'm rooting
Shield.
for you. You have not liked the wolves in this game.
No. And then benefits. I just get a plus, don't I, for my shield?
What's
Is that
the
right?
which you have shields 1 and defensive what is it? Defensive and shields?
Shield 2
So that's a plus 2.
and defensive 2.
Then that's 2 benefits.
Oh, so 2 and 2. Cool.
Yeah. Tell me what it looks like as he crashes upon your shield.
Yeah, so Terenion had sort of stepped onto his back foot and he was expecting it to leap for his throat, and sure enough it leaps for close enough. And he just brings his shield up and it just smacks full into it and then kind of drops to the ground. They both kind of stagger backwards from the impact. The wolf yelps slightly and then starts snarling again. Terenion is just, his shield's knocked out of place for a second, but then it's quickly back into position.
Estedir is going to aim one. Wolf should be at 4. Reckless is 4. So I'm going to aim once because I'm going to take some penalties for shooting into melee and stuff. So I'm just going to aim once and let Terenion try to kill it.
Cool.
All right. So that bit you up 4.3.
Yeah.
Renion's going to step in just slightly to the side to give Estedir an angle, because he saw the first arrow come over his shoulder. He steps into the side, and then that's kind of opened up the right side of his body to face it, so he just swings his sword in. His traditional diagonal cut. Oh, hold on. Let me try that again.
A slash.
Yeah. 2 benefits. 43.
Indeed. I mean, it can try to dodge, right? But
Oh, yeah. It's not going to. There's no way. Tell me what it looks like. This one's doomed.
Yeah, so this one, he kind of steps to the side and it tracks him. And then he just feints slightly that he's going to drop his shield a little bit. And then as it moves to take advantage of that, as his shield moves out the way, his sword is right behind it, and the point just stabs straight through the wolf's chest.
It just falls down at your feet. And a lot of the other orcs, wolves are either slain or start to retreat. But then as you look around you, Terenion, to your left and right, some of the Gondolin lay with their throats ripped out. To your left, there's like a wolf like eating one of the guy's face. You're like, ah! Ah! And if you look at him, his eyeball comes out. And there's a brief lull as the thunder crashes, and you hear a giant war horn go again. This ring is out. And there's like 30 seconds to gather yourself. So kind of roleplay what you're doing.
Yeah, so Terenion will be charging in to just kind of clear these wolves off that are trying to, finish off the dead and injured. He'll be calling for people to take back the wounded behind the lines and says, "Wounded to the rear ranks. The weary must take their place again. We will hold. We will hold. Whatever comes through those barricades, we will hold."
And then another war horn erupts.
And this time, for psychological purposes, he takes his place in the middle of the ranks.
Yeah, the Lord of the Trees! The Lord of the Trees is with us! And then, kind of out of the darkness now, you see what looks to be just hundreds and hundreds of orcs. And they smash into the ranks. And many of them just immediately meet their end. But then again, they're quickly upon you, Terenion. And Estedir, why don't you roll me the D3 this time?
Okay.
I'll pull myself clear so we can actually see what's going on.
2 of them?
Yep.
2 of them get into Terenion. Alright, initiative again.
One moment.
Wow, this Sauron fella keeps cropping up, doesn't he?
Who's that?
Yeah. Just some wannabe Lieutenant of Morgoth, you know how it is.
I must have used old macro for this one. Only 2 of them. Oh, you guys are gonna kill them. All right, Terenion, you're first.
Okay. So Terenion's going to do the same as before. He's going to sidestep slightly, take on this one, and he will fairly standard attack because he wants to be able to be fairly defensive afterwards. Oh, I forgot about the benefits. 2 benefits. 49.
Set some of this stuff here. Yeah, too loud. Orcs are too loud. 49 hit. Okay, which one are you going after? The top or the bottom one?
The bottom one, because I was trying to give Estedir a clear shot at the other one.
He's gonna try to dodge. You're gonna try to dodge. There we go. Benefit on 29. A little better than his base defense. But that still hits. What's that, 20?
Is he trained in dodge? It looks like he is, so 2 of those
He is.
dice explode. It didn't explode
He is.
because of
Oh,
the sheet
yeah.
stuff. So you should roll 2d10.
So another 14 on top of that. What's that? 43?
Yep. So it's a hit still.
43. 43. 6 levels of success. -3 for the target, so that's 3.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a minion, so he's still
Did they have
dead, right?
armor though? Did they have armor?
Oh, I think they do.
But you also haven't added in his damage either. So +4.
Yeah, it's
So-
he's still going to take damage.
Yeah,
I
then
can,
he's
I can
dead.
safely say that.
He's dead then.
So yeah. Terenion, describe that to me.
This one's very business-like. Terenion's killed more orcs than he can count at this point in his life. So he knows it's going to come rushing in very aggressively. And he waits for the first attack and just blocks him with his shield to the arm. And then as the arm's kind of outstretched, he just stabs the orc, through the stomach, pulls up and out, and then just pushes it away from him with his shield. Oh yeah, and I forgot my +4. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oops.
Estedir is going to shoot at the other orc, as usual. Just takes aim quickly. And he's going to shoot. 80 range. Does he have armor? Yeah, it's not going to matter. I have 12 other damage from that effect. Yeah.
Does that have your 10 extra damage added in or no?
I mean, but that's not in the roll. It's not in the skill
Oh, yeah.
or anything. So yeah,
Yeah.
I do 9 other damage afterwards. You'd take his armor, subtract it from 13, and I would add 9. Yeah. So basically, he just shoots and it goes through his right leg, right? So it's right at where the hip connects to the leg, and just hits that femoral artery and goes right through his leg, through the bone, even breaks it with this magical bow that he has.
And then there's another law. Another law happens, and you see now, like all the orcs and whatnot, just they kind of draw back into the night, and one of the captains kind of pulls back to Terenion. What is this? They have stopped. There were so few of them. I thought we were just getting started. I do not feel this. I feel quite uncomfortable.
I'm sure they have plans, but this delay is to our advantage. This gives our men more time to destroy the bridge. Be thankful for it.
Yeah, as you actually say that, like one of the engineers rolls up to the captain. My lord! My lord! We are set. There are only 2 supports holding the bridge up. We must now hasten our retreat into the castle. And he looks towards Terenion and Estedir. Who are these heroes that come to us in the dead of night at an unlooked for hour? I am grateful indeed for their assistance. And he looks towards Terenion and Estedir.
And Terenion gives him his usual half smile and says, "No heroes, just soldiers." And he puts a hand on the man's shoulder and says, "We should prepare the retreat carefully, lest they fall on us while we do so."
And the men kind of start to fall back, start to all fall back towards the bridge.
Yeah,
Estedir, what are you doing?
I think what we might do, both, it's okay, is just send the archers to rush back first and make positions on the far side of the bridge, so that then as the swordsmen pull back, the archers can cover them from a position of safety.
Bo, I hate to ask it with your fancy animation there, but can you stop it? The
Is it too
river,
much?
yeah, it's a little bit. It'll crash Camtasia too.
Okay. Let me get the
Very cool though.
map. I can just stop the animation.
Yeah. It'll still look cool. It'll still look like
Might
right
just
here.
do it. Let's see here. Yeah, it's not giving me the control for it.
Just
Let's
right click on it, right?
Animation, stop looping. Oh yeah, here, cool. Yeah. Pause. Stop looping. Is that working for you? Is it stopping?
Yeah, except the one on the left there is still going.
I think I'm having trouble selecting that one. Send it to the back. There we go.
Is it in a different layer?
There we go. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, cool.
They should all be stopped.
Yep.
The the little flames are okay.
I'm not over. I'm not. They're fine. Yeah, that's not a big deal.
So yeah, you hear the soldiers marching as they kind of fall back across the bridge. The archers go first to kind of make their way over, and Estedir is with them. And Terenion, what are you doing?
So Terenion will stay with the swordsman, and he'll kind of hold the line with them until they see that the archers are in place, and then he'll say, "Very well, fall back by ranks. Rear rank first. First rank, hold your positions. We will fall back last. Be prepared to fight as we go." And then as they get to safety, he'll start pulling back with the rest of the men.
Mm-hmm. As you do so, you hear just kind of cackling coming from the forest, and you hear the orcs kind of start to pound their drums, and then from the forest, you see this brilliant glow that gets more and more and more intense until eventually kind of stepping out of the forest and just demolishing the siege works is something very, very scary. And he just roars, just and just sets the entire earthworks on fire with this brilliant flame of sword just arises in his right hand, and in his left hand is this clip, and some orcs now come out of the woods kind of at his feet, and everybody kind of surges towards the bridge.
Terenion will be yelling, "Archers!" and then just says to the men, "Run! This is a foe beyond all of you."
It starts to kind of lumber forward, and it catches a couple of these guards, and you just hear them scream. You find guard cries. There you go. And he just cuts one of them in half with a sword, and the other one just grabs it by the neck with this whip and yanks it into the air, flinging the soldier like back into the forest. Estedir and the rest of you guys.
Well, I mean, we're like kind of backing up. I assume at least Estedir is, but then stops himself and is gonna try to shoot an arrow, depending on what happens here. Am I like? It depends on if I'm terrorized and all that jazz.
Yeah, he's going to get a little closer to the bridge, and it stops, and it just lets out a giant roar, and it does have aura of fear, I believe.
Yeah, I'm guessing it does. Yeah.
Ooh,
Aura of fear level 2. Yes.
After all.
Rank 3 fear hazard resisted by courage,
Yeah.
or leadership. I'll let you use that too if it's better. And yeah, you guys got to make it's a 5k3 is the hazard, so I'll roll that.
Yes, that is right. It explodes too, so that's Not
Not
bad.
very good. Not very good.
I have some good courage, thankfully.
His guard cries are the best.
Okay.
I like ow.
Yeah. Ow.
So +3 to courage on that.
Mental.
Okay, +3 to courage. Good.
Yep.
Terenion, not cowed.
Yeah.
19. Meet your
Oh
base
my
mental
gosh,
defense.
are you kidding me? Look at that roll.
What- What's your base mental defense? 8?
Yeah, it's not good. Mental defense is 12, yeah.
Mental injury? How that works?
Yeah, it's gonna be, no, it's gonna be a wound. But it's, hold on. Actually, let's see. Because it's my terror level is 15. I just took damage of 21, or I'm sorry, 19 minus 16, 3. No, it doesn't actually hurt me. It's lowered my trauma level.
That's good. All right, so role play what you guys are doing then, and what this looks like as this giant thing just comes to the foot of the bridge and expands what looks like wings, but it might not actually be.
Yeah, Estedir just kind of shrinks back a bit, but is bolstered by the men behind him. He just says, it's the first time he's even spoken since I've gotten here. He's like, hold, they need us, hold.
Some of the back ranks, though, of archers, they just, like, kind of step back, you know? A few of them fire, like, very errant arrows, and they just get knocked away by the sword of this thing. It's this giant tongue of flame. Terenion?
Terenion's been trying to urge his men to run across the bridge so that they can demolish it. And he's sort of taking up the rear so that he can try and stand between this thing and the men. But he's trying to urge them across the bridge so that he doesn't have to, hopefully. So yeah, he's hoping he's kind of working with their natural instincts. By saying, run! You can do no good here.
They all flee. You bring it up the rear, and this thing just lets out another roar.
And Terenion will be yelling to the engineers to destroy the bridge. Because presumably it will be destroyed here, not the bit that everyone's standing on, right?
Yeah. It'll be like right when he steps on it.
Yeah.
So I want to see. So he steps.
Terenion's
he
going to
goes.
stand on the edge and try.
He
and
goes
get
right
attention.
to the edge, and he stops there, and just kind of looks down at you guys like he senses something. You're going to have to goad him to come forward, either with rhetoric or leadership or something to taunt him. Come forward.
Terenion will say, "Tell me, Flame of Udun, is it true that your master only faced our High King in combat when his captains urged him to? That left to himself he had no courage?"
Ooh, that's a pretty bad burn, man. That is a bad burn, because in the books, he wouldn't go out to face him until his captains made him.
Yeah,
Bad burn. Estedir, what are you saying?
Estedir he's not very good at talking.
Just roleplay wise.
Yeah,
you know.
he'll just I don't really know what he would say. I don't think he would say anything. He just looking at it in awe as he prepares to fire. Yeah, I don't think he would say anything.
Just flips it the bird, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I'm not even going to make you roll for it. So tell me what it looks like as he steps forward, and the engineers, like, from the rear ranks, pull the last supports out from underneath this bridge, and it topples down into the water. Steam just rises. Tell me, like, what it looks like as it kind of gets washed down.
Yeah, so he kind of takes a step towards Terenion, and Terenion's trying to look defiant, but kind of he's trying to hold his fear in check and bracing himself, and then the bridge just collapses under it, and there's an immense whoosh of steam comes up from the river, and Terenion jumps back from the edge, so he trying not to go down with it, and he'll brace himself for several seconds to make sure it's really gone. And then, without turning his back, because he knows there are still orcs there that may have bows, he's kind of behind his shield and says, "All flames may be quenched." And then he says to his men, "Now, fall back to the walls."
They kind of raise a giant cheer as this thing just topples into the water. And everybody scurries back, running along the bridge. And you can feel Terenion and Estedir underneath your feet as this thing takes a step and then falls to the bridge. It's almost like an earthquake. And a great steam rises up. And we now know which Balrog ended up in Khazad-dûm.
Oh, nice. And never learnt his lesson about bridges.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But did learn what to do when you fall off one with an enemy right in front of you.
Yeah. I should have whipped him.
Yeah.
I'll do that next time.
Yeah, he's floating up down the river thinking that, yeah.
As you guys run through the gates, stepping out of the forest behind the Balrog, its eyes red and gleaming in the night, again, is that giant wolf. And I'm going to change you scenes into a giant map. Hopefully this doesn't break your computer. There is no...
if there's no dynamic lighting, it won't.
no dynamic lighting. It should be okay.
Yeah, it's all dynamic.
And let me pull over a couple soldiers just for flavor. Hang on. So I do like all those soldiers. They look cool. Let's see here. Regrouped. All right. Tell me if it's dark or whatever. I have the page set right.
That looks fine.
Okay. Okay, so you get behind the gates. Like the gates are like right here, and I'll let you kind of role play as you kind of run towards the inner part of the citadel. You hear from outside now. The place is being just destroyed by like trebuchets that are flinging giant boulders against the fortress. As you run across the last part of the bridge as well, you see the same trolls that are loading these trebuchets are also hurling like huge boulders into the river Sirion to create a dam or a land bridge in order to reach the fortress for their final assault. And I'll let you guys role play as you run in.
So Terenion will kind of take up the rear again. He's keeping his shield between him and the enemy. His main aim at the moment is to avoid panic because they're running, which is kind of the natural instinct, so they could panic at this point. So he's yelling orders to them as they go in, back to join the others on the defences, send the wounded through for treatment, etc. And he'll be yelling up to, if there's any crew on this ballista up here, he'll be yelling at them to kind of target the trolls, and yelling the same to any archers on the walls. I'll get the trolls, go for the necks.
And they're just like shooting at these things in the night. Most of the arrows are just plink, plink, plinking off their armor. as you guys kind of continue further and further into the castle courtyard.
Yeah, Estedir would pull one of the guys aside and say, "When will the ships be ready to sail?"
Not soon enough. Lord Turgon is within, or not Turgon, Lord Fingon is within. With any hope, by sunrise we'll be ready to flee. Rumor is that they have turned to salvaging furniture, rafters, anything they can. These are not majestic elven ships. Estedir, say he's known your name by now.
Yeah.
These are little more than rafts.
Rafts
With the
will
blessings
do.
of Olmo. Yes. With the blessings of Olmo, we may flee south in haste. If only we make it through the night. And eventually you end up in a courtyard. And as you enter that courtyard, you see hundreds and hundreds of troops there, arrayed in armor, just like you did see the troops of the Gondolin. Many of them are wounded from the day's fighting, and you see Fingon with his great sword at his side, kind of addressing them all. As you guys kind of run in, it begins to rain harder and harder, and the night is filled with even more and more lightning. Fingon turns to Estedir and Terenion as they arrive with maybe like 250 of the Gondolin that are left. And he says, "Who goes there? How many troops from the outer wall still survive? Does the bridge still stand?" And one of the captains kind of comes to him and says, "King Fingon, help has arrived. These men say they are from Dorthonion, though the troops they bring with them. I
Didn't
believe
Terenion
these are
send in
your
a
brother's
letter?
men." Yeah.
Yeah, so Terenion will step forward and give a quick bow and say, "My Lord Fingon, I bring word from your kin." And hand him the letter.
And he kind of reads it. "My brother Turgon. He has ever been wise. It is said, in front of harps and after wine, that he keeps counsel with Olmo. I do not know if I believe those tales, but he is safe within his hidden stronghold, and King Fingon is here, son of Fingolfin, king of the Noldor and the High Elves. Who is it that brings me this grave news?"
I am named Terenion, a soldier once of Dorthonion, and this is my nephew Estedir.
Your aid comes at a most crucial time. The captains from the outer walls say that many more would have fallen, and perhaps the bridge would have been taken indeed, if not for your reinforcements. I dare say, why do you not flee south down the Sirion to the mouths of the river, and take shelter there by the ocean? For the tide that comes through the north will surely reach there ere the end. Instead, you have marched north into the gaping maw of the enemy.
I am a soldier, my king, and such is the duty of a soldier, to fight for his people and for his king.
Estedir actually breaks a smile and says, "I am no soldier, my lord. I just believe I am not very intelligent."
Terenion smiles and says, "Do not believe it, my king. Estedir refuses to believe in his own courage."
Your courage is plainly on display, Estedir of Dorthonion. Speak not ill. If you are dim-witted, well, I can see it as a certain sort of gift in this hour of need. For if you do not think too deeply or too longly, perhaps the terror of this moment will not lie heavy upon you.
Ah, then I present my slowness to you, my lord.
He laughs. A slow soldier will stand guard where a swift one may think smartly and retreat. I welcome you by my side, Estedir, and Terenion. Have I seen your face before? The siege lines of Angband? Although you did not wear a helm such as that.
I did indeed serve upon the siege lines for many a long year, my king. This helm you will have also seen there. This was the helm of Thurintor, the great captain, but sadly he fell. This helm was brought as a gift to me by men who found it. Whereabouts? Which kingdom was it? I forgot what the name of the kingdom was.
Was it Ladros? Or was it someplace else?
No,
it was someplace else, right? Yeah.
Was, yeah.
Dorthonion?
No, the
No,
helm, where he got it, where he got the...
The forest where we took the...
Oh, Brethil. Brethil. Men of Brethil.
The men of Brethil.
House of Hador. Hador!
Yes, the men of Brethil gave it to us as a rich gift for helping their kin. And Estedir's bow also.
Perhaps these are omens that we may yet live out this night. As he does that, I'm going to change his name. Let's see here. I'll call him Noldor Shipwright. There you go. He comes at Fingon's side and he is wearing like a hammer at his side and his hands are blistered, his face is dirty. My king. Constructions on the ships is proceeding, but alas, I fear it is proceeding too slowly. In weeks past, we have depleted the forest of lumber, and even now, your hall, your court, is being stripped for any usable wood. We think we can complete this deed, but we need more time. Fingon looks towards the sky, and the stars that are a great comfort to the elves are just completely blotted out. And you can hear pretty much the soundscape, like you can hear the orcs outside as this land bridge is being constructed. There's very little King Fingon's men can do about it. He just says to himself, the fate of the High King of the Noldor now hangs by a thread. This defeat has been long. You're a talented shipwright. And you, and he turns to kind of address Estedir and Terenion and all the soldiers as well. You have fought bravely and well, my kin. Oh, but alas, Tol-Sirion will now surely fall into darkness. But our fate need not be mingled with this fortress. Alas, the sun shall soon rise, and with it would vanish our enemy's ability to pursue us. I ask now for those whose hearts match the bravery of my father, Fingolfin, who alone of the Noldor wounded the Dark Lord beneath Angband. Join me. Let songs be sung of this night, when even Sauron, the Lord of Wolves, himself knew fear. And though he hid behind his horde of orcs, he well knows that this will be a costly victory, and the wrath of the West will one day come upon him and show no mercy. Who is with me? Who will man these walls even as Tol-Sirion falls? We will not retreat to the ships until the last. And many of the men, this being the actual High King, they raise their voices in cheer. And then he looks to the remaining Gondolin, and they, of course, cheer as well. And then to Estedir and Terenion. Are you with me?
To the death, my king.
Estedir simply nods.
It's like, does it have to be to the death?
Yeah, it's like, if I don't have to.
And then he says simply, very well, men, to the walls! And what remaining soldiers kind of start to run up upon the walls to try to repel this last assault. You can't see the moon, you can't see the stars, you can't even tell how far away the dawn is at this point. And thus begins the last siege of Tol-Sirion. I'm gonna move your tokens.
Tolkien's, I like it.
I'm gonna move your tokens, just for a little bit of role play, and I'm gonna give you like a little tour of some cool scenes that would have happened during this. Here's where the Bullrog was in front of you, and
Cool.
Here's where you kind of were outside the walls during that assault. And here is what it would have looked like as the Lord of Wolves stands ordering the last assault upon Tol-Sirion. And I'll let you guys kind of tell me how you man the walls, roleplay wise, what you plan to do, how you plan to help.
Yeah, so Terenion will kind of offer himself to the king as an experienced captain, but also say that he has been charged by Turgon with Fingon's safety. Said if there's any way of him fulfilling both duties, then he would appreciate that.
So he's staying by Turgon's side, Estedir?
Yeah, by Fingon's side if we can.
Yeah, Turgon's going to lead from the front as well. You'll be with him.
Fingon.
Cool.
Estedir, he is mostly quiet. He finds a place by a parapet where he can duck behind and just shoots anything he can see, pretty much. He tells some of the archers to bring him some arrows, and he just continues to just fire at anything he can. He will actually shoot at trolls if he possibly can with his special bow. Hopefully he can hurt them, and he will continue to try to just kill anything he can from a distance, figuring now is the time.
Yep.
Terenion will have given him any insight he happens to possess and any weak spots that trolls happen to have that he can aim for.
Why don't you just give me a bow shot at long range? Or
Long range is perfect. It doesn't. It's medium
yep.
for me.
And just the TN's 21.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a
Pretty easy.
on one of these rolls you're going to have to make. I'll give you a benefit.
What should I target? It's gonna be. You get 21. Okay, you get 20. So we'll just do that. So my shot will be one lower, I guess.
Oh yeah, it makes you target.
Yeah. I could have done it from the sheet, but yeah. 26 is what I got.
What does it look like as you take down a couple of the trolls, slowing their advances?
Yeah, he shoots them so purely, right in weak spots of their armor / hide that Terenion had told him, with the power of his bow, the special ability on it. It just punctures into the not deep into their body like it would an orc. An orc, it would almost fly through it, but it's deep enough to just barely catch their hearts or their spleens, and bursts both, and they just topple over onto a trebuchet, knocking it over, killing dozens of orcs that it falls upon.
You just hear him scream. Terenion, I'll let you get an opportunity to get a bonus to your rolls too. At least to your kind of physical rolls. What are you doing to help prepare the walls?
Yeah, so Terenion is walking up and down the walls, and he's both talking to the men. He'll spread out the Gondolin, so they can see each other and support each other, but also bolster some of the more tired troops. And he'll be going and talking to them and showing the troops that he knows, his men. But he's also looking for any weak spots in the defences and shoring those up. Setting extra archers there, setting any sort of sally ports or anything. He's got soldiers there, and he'll have the freshest troops he can by the gate, and that the swordsmen will be reinforced by soldiers with pikes or long spears in case trolls get through. And those who haven't fought trolls before, he'll tell them about sort of setting pikes and having swordsmen and pikemen and archers all work together.
That sounds like a warfare. Warfare roll.
Hey, let's try
21.
it. Yeah, he's not that great. Oh, no.
Perhaps like the trebuchets and the chaos of the battle is just making it too hard to be so many places at once. The troops they can barely even hear you a lot of the time, as this battle kind of wears on. So you can kind of describe to me what that chaos feels like.
Yeah, it's he's trying to talk, but constantly you've got lightning flashing. There's the rain's pouring down. There's splashes from the river as the trolls get closer and closer, and the orcs are firing arrows towards the fortress the whole time. So it is challenging to hear, but also they're constantly in fear of their lives, and he's really just not getting through to them. Everything he does comes across as having a tinge of desperation, so it doesn't have the effect he was hoping for.
I'm gonna bring Turgon's token out with you just for fun. Or Fingon, call him Turgon. All right. So as you man the walls, Estedir, you can do the first roll, the horde roll or whatever we call them.
Okay.
If you look in the rollable tables, there's going to be a horde action table. And what I did is basically, instead of just fighting a bunch of people, I just abstracted it to hazards.
Okay.
And it's gonna roll a hazard for you guys, and we'll kind of narrate how this battle goes.
Horde action table is what you want?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Which ones you roll?
Gazing from Tol-Sirion's battlements and into the knife, lighting flashes. They're tall, red-eyed, and the gloam is a monstrous wolf. Its black fur is slick with rain, and it stands as tall as 2 Noldor. Thunder rolls, lightning crashes. Now the wolf is gone. Sauron, Dark Lieutenant enemy, has come. It lays waste to any opponent that crosses a hastily built land bridge towards Tol-Sirion, or a fear. 5d10, keep 3. So level 3.
So what happens is basically that giant wolf that you were seeing earlier, it's kind of in the rear ranks of the battlefield. And then like a lightning flashes and you just see this giant armored figure kind of come forth And from the battlements, you can see him cross the land bridge, just heedless of any orcs in his way, even trolls. And he just strikes a weak part in the wall with this giant mace. He even seems to grow in stature in front of you. And you guys just hear this, and you feel the walls shake. Fingon even looks down from the walls. Sauron! Sauron has come. He is but a slave. Remember that. Free elves of the West. He does the bidding of Morgoth. Do not fear his wrath. And even as he does that, I would say like half of the elves on the walls, they just run for their life towards the ships. Some of them even like run into the water even though the ships aren't completely done. Some of them, you've all seen the footage of or in movies of people trying to get on the life rafts in the Titanic, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of them do that as Sauron just pounds his way through the walls. And you guys need to make your aura fear checks.
You got to roll your 5d10 too, so
Yep.
we know what we're rolling against.
It looks like I wasn't so far off with my putting up willpower this time. I feel like
Yeah.
it was worth it. Probably going to fail now, but...
Oh man,
Oof.
that's
But-
not good.
But this is Sauron, so
Yeah.
it's fair enough. Oh!
Oh!
Nice.
2 big explosions.
Mm.
Hey! You are not cowed by
Suck it,
Dark
wimp.
Lord Sauron.
Yeah.
What does Terenion say?
Terenion yells down from the wall. Go back to the halls beneath Thangorodrim, whence you came, slave of Mor. You will find only death here. For the Noldor hold it, and we will not be cowed, and we will not run before you. Regards to the fact that half of them already have. Go back and take your slaves with you.
And as you hear that, he starts to kind of climb through the rubble, and you see a few brave souls of Gondolindrum. They say, "For the House of the Golden Flower, for Glorfindel, for King Fingon, High King of the Noldor." And they rush into the breach. But you've seen what happens with this big mace, right? Just knocks them against the wall. One of them falls like 10 yards behind you, Terenion. His chest just caved in. All right, Terenion, you roll in the hazard table next.
Yeah.
Hang on a second, I got to remove that option. Hang on.
Or
You
we
can't
just
get him
we can
again.
just re-roll if it happens. Besides
Yeah.
keeping all
Yeah,
that
that's
work
fine.
for you.
Yeah, that's
So how do I roll on the table?
so go to where your macros are. Let me just delete it. It's pretty easy. I'll just delete it.
Yeah, there's to the right of the audio. There's the tables. You can do it there too. That's what I did. Like the audio tab at the you see like the dot dash
Oh,
dot
yeah.
dash dot dash. Click on
Oh,
that. and
roll hold action. Got it. Oh, I clicked on it. I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let's try this.
Are you at the very bottom? Rollable tables.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Take cover! River boulders loaded onto monstrous trebuchets by troll hills fall upon Tol-Sirion in the night. They crash into fortifications, lay waste to battlements, and surely slay no small number of the Noldor. Physical rank 3 resisted by dodge or acrobatics, so 40-10 K2.
It's actually 5 if it's a rank 3. 5d10 keep. No, oh, it says rank 3. That's yeah, it would be 5d10 keep.
I meant
3.
it to be 2.
Okay.
2,
Oh, okay.
actually.
Yeah, that's no problem.
That's what's in my notes.
Yeah, okay.
And since it's one of the physical ones, you guys get, since it's not like a fear-based one, you will get your benefit from your actions earlier.
Okay.
4D.
Dodge for sure.
24.
You said we get a benefit?
Mm-hmm.
You do. Yeah.
I think it's for everybody, right? Or maybe
No,
not.
just
I don't
you.
know. Oh, okay.
It's you, yeah, because I didn't succeed on mine.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oof.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, he just
So,
kind of
yeah.
Estedir ducks behind a parapet and it just goes flying overhead.
And Terenion.
Terenion, seeing how Sauron is making his way through the courtyard and just so many brave men dying facing him, he turns and tries to yell over the din to Estedir, who probably won't hear, and just yells, "Farewell, Estedir," and then he starts making his way down into the courtyard.
Yeah, Estedir, what are you doing?
Someone must slow his advance. He must not reach the king, for that is surely his aim.
He
And
kind of goes slack-jawed at that.
Terenion just gets down to the courtyard and he yells to any of the Gondolin he can see and saying, "Protect the king! Take him to safety!" And then he starts yelling at Sauron to face him.
What do you say to him?
So I'll start with the same sort of thing, like saying, "It is well known that the servants and captains of Morgoth fear to face the Noldor in single combat. So come. Your size and strength are great, but what of your skill? Does it lie only in magic? Is there any courage beneath that armor, or just hollowness and hate?"
His armor is outlined as lightning crashes, and this giant, monstrous head, which is like the height of 2 men or 3 men right now, swivels to the left, and he takes 1 step in your direction, and he's like hitting his mace on his left palm. He says, "You will lie at the bottom of this river, Noldor." Estedir, roll on the Horde action table again.
Horde action table? Okay. In the deep night and amidst the pouring rain, there is a great hiss upon the west bank of the river. The water is disturbed, and the great mist of hot steam rises from the river Sirion and encompasses the fortress. Then silhouetted against the great crashes is a sinuous form. Heavy is his... Oh my god, come on! Heavy is his great bulk, and the water is Glamrung. Father of dragons, he lets out a terrible roar, and the Noldor despair. Aura fear check, 5d10, keep 3.
You can even hear this, Terenion. So both of you guys have to make the check. Let me get Glorong out here. $43. Oh, what?
It's a flying lizard!
It's not even flying. It
doesn't
just
fly.
walks. So it's like, yeah, maybe it would be scary if it could fly, but right now, no.
Yeah. Oh, it's a real lizard. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, my worst one yet, but still enough.
Man.
Both of you pass it. So over on the east bank, just tearing down the walls now, its head probably comes up over the top of the battlements of the castle, right? And there's a bunch of like Noldor soldiers up there. They did not expect this thing. As soon as the head comes up, he just sprays this huge spout of flame to the left and right, just strafing, and just dozens of Gondolindrum and Tol-Sirion soldiers. They're just screaming, and they run past Terenion and Estedir on fire, and even Fingon falters somewhat, and he looks towards the sky where perhaps the first rays of sun start to rise in the east, and he says, "Men, hold your ground! If Terenion and Estedir here by my side refuse to flee when darkness sets upon them, you can do the same. Do not cow to the Dark Lord. Do not cow to this serpent." And they all kind of give a shout, but they're just getting destroyed. And the engineers kind of come up to Fingon and says, "Quickly, my king! You must direct what survivors we had to the ships. Quickly!" And Terenion, make the last check on the horde.
Is there
table.
one option left?
There's one option left.
Oh, perfect for the last one.
Yeah, so in screaming behind the holes that Glaurung and Sauron left are just thousands of orcs. Rah! And they just come with them. It's almost like that scene from the movies where they come through the gates of Gondor, of Minas Tirith, and they just fall upon everybody. And while they're saying that, Fingon's like, "Quickly! Quickly! The sun rises! We must make haste and live to fight another day. To the ships! To the ships!" And let me roll my 14. What the fuck?
I'm going to go for fortitude, I think. Okay.
All right. What are you guys going to do? Sauron, he actually does this. Tyranny, you're pretty close to him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically Terenion's trying to stay between Sauron and the High King. He's not eager to get killed by him, but he's prepared to lay his life down for the king.
Let me see what benefits he has at this. One moment. Okay. He has powerful magic, so
He just
so
gets.
if he casts
just
something,
mm-hmm.
so he can cast one level higher for free.
Yep, that's right.
So it's only what, 2 spell die? Is that how it is?
It depends on how many you use. Say you wanted to use 4 levels, then it would be 3. If you did 3 levels, then it would be 2, etc.
Targeted, no or yes? I never figured that.
Not in magic, not targeted. If it's a power, it's targeted. But
Okay.
oh, I'm sorry.
Next.
I'm sorry. Hold on. So it is targeted, yes, because it will be
I'm going to try and dispel with the helm.
Yep. Nice. Just let him roll first, though.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll let you dispel it. It's going to be on himself, but I'm still going
Yeah,
to
he could
dispel
still
it.
dispel it.
So there's 3 rolls here. Hold on, I'll make the... here's the note. I'm dropping it in the Roll20 chat. Does that make sense? So what should I be rolling?
It's 6k4, because it's
6K4.
Those are PLs. So per PL, 4k2 is PL1, 6k4 is PL2.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Benefit, pullback, additional mods, no. Hardships, no.
6K4.
Targeted, yes. Spell dice. So he can get... So is 0 spell effects just the base spell?
It has to be 1.
Okay, so So he can get the effect. He can do 2 and get the effect of 3 if he has.
That's correct.
All right, so that's what we'll do. We'll cast it at level 3. And let's see, your dispel is 28.
So he failed to roll it.
Failed it. So this is okay.
But hold on. You targeted himself. Then he actually got a 19. Because if you
target, well, he still beats it, right?
No, it's a -1. He doesn't beat it, but the -20 is just from targeting himself. If you target yourself, it's 0 because it's going to do your magic defense. So you got a 19. It's a 19.
But he got a 28 though.
I see a negative. I see a -1.
I get a 28 on my.
Oh, you're saying he dispelled it, but I was talking about the shape roll. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. It's dispelled.
Okay.
I can die happy now.
Can you see this, all of you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So Gloron is decimating things, but for some reason Terenion is covering Fingon's escape. Fingon looks to Terenion and says, I think it's clear that Sauron might actually catch him.
Right.
He says, "Fight well, brave warrior. If you do perish, songs will be sung about this." Estedir, what's Estedir doing?
He's, like I said, he's kind of slack-jawed and, "No, uncle, no!" And he climbs down quickly off the wall to kind of where behind Terenion a bit, and looks to the king and looks to Terenion and pauses for a moment.
Terenion will say to him, "No, Estedir. My purpose here is only to delay our foe. Go with the king. Live." And then, again, one of the rare, genuine smiles, he says, "Go into the east with your ents. Live in peace."
Furrows his brow, takes a couple steps back, just looking at the looming figure of Sauron anyway, and looks to the king. The kind of mutters under his breath and says, "My lord, to the ships come."
He nods to you, but says no word. Gives a nod to Terenion. And narratively, there are probably a host of the surviving Gondolin with you as well, Terenion.
Yeah, I'll send most of them. I'll send most of them off with the king.
Yeah.
To guard him.
Like 5 or 6 maybe stand with you or whatever.
Yeah, I'll say those basically send anyone who's got a family off with the king, and then anyone who doesn't and who wants to.
Damn,
stay,
I knew I shouldn't have wrapped it up. It's like. And so the scene now, we're going to play this out, is Estedir and Fingon. You run down into the tunnels that are unmarred underneath the castle. And as you run underneath the castle, you just hear, just sounds like an earthquake as Glaurung just enters the courtyard and just sprays flame everywhere. And then Terenion, you look up at Sauron, and he looks at you, and roll initiative.
Okay.
You're grinning, aren't you?
Yeah, because if I even survive a round, I'm going to be so happy.
Did you use all your benefits? Remember you
I did,
all your
yeah.
benefits? Okay.
I did, yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna die, oh, you're faster than him, which makes
Faster.
sense.
Yeah.
He couldn't do transmute either. He was going to make himself just giant.
Oh, yeah.
Strength, like he's just going to add 3 to his strength.
Yeah.
Just like.
So now, just so you know, if you use that dispel, it takes an activate, so interact action. So you can't just spam it, right?
Right. Got it.
Yeah. That was just like kind of narrative
Yeah.
before the battle starts.
Yeah.
Like what would happen? Let's say you, like for some reason, like this voice started to to ring out above the din as you face down Sauron, and there's music, and it's not there, but he might even see it. And what do you say to him as this subtle power just fails him at this time?
Say to him, your power and the power of your master may be great, but they are not the greatest power in Middle-earth. Greater power lives in the West, and you know it. And Terenion will give a peaceful smile in the face of death.
All right, you go first.
Okay, well, Terenion's not trying to win this. He knows he can't win. He's trying to delay Sauron for as long as possible to protect the king. So he goes full defensive. He acts like he's kind of feinting. He acts like he's going to attack, but then just plants his shield. He doesn't want to do it too early to kind of invite a really heavy attack, but he's going to just try and invite a normal attack and then plant his shield, go full defensive, and try and take it.
Is that 3 AP?
5.
Fine.
And he's got the special ability, which I'll put in the chat.
It's half of your base defense now, I think.
I would say, oh yeah,
Pretty
that's a bit
sure.
more sensible.
Yeah.
Because that would be very high for
Yeah.
him. So it'll still be plus 10.
Pretty good.
Oh, this is good. He's just gonna loom over you and just pound on you. He has fast on his attack. So he's going to hit you. He'll be able to hit you twice, I think, before you go again.
Right.
Well, it depends. Well, I mean, yeah, but Terenion's obviously going to dodge next time, or do something,
yeah.
or shield, so it's going to...
Yeah, shield, yeah.
Yeah. Combat menu, mace, no benefits, no additional mods, no hardships. 47.
Ooh.
It's not that good. It's not that good.
It's not that bad.
Not that good for him.
Not for that. It's not that bad for that dice pool. He's keeping 7 dice, so...
PL4, baby.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He must be PL4.
Hey!
Did you give yourself 5
Yes.
benefits, too?
5 benefits. Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, you still blocked it, but yeah.
Yeah. It would have been even higher. So, yeah. I forgot to give myself the... I just gave myself the plus... Yeah, the 2 and the 2 benefits and the plus 12 from the shield plus the full defense. But
So he gets 2. So he gets 2 APs. Terenion, you get 1
yeah.
for using shields. He's going to try to go again.
I'm still full defensive, so...
No,
Yeah.
it goes away once you use
does it?
your- Yeah, it goes away.
Okay.
Oh
is it
no!
just- Yeah. Now I die.
67.
Oh, yeah. So, this time, what should it be, Bo? I'd normally have 2 benefits and plus 2. Do I get anything else? The full defense is gone, has it?
I'd give yourself another benefit just because he's kind of surrounded.
So before you roll, I would check and see this. You don't want too many benefits on your roll, right? So, do you have a 5 and 5? Is it maxed out?
It should be 2 and 2, normally.
Oh, okay. So you have shields
Just
3.
with the
so
shield.
2 benefits. Yep. So Give yourself 2 benefits and then a +3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's that pool
physical
maximum
menu,
stuff.
Shields. 2 benefits. +3.
Plus whatever else you got.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
It should be actually a 43, just so you know.
43. Okay.
Yeah, because
43, 4. So 24 levels of success.
Yep.
So that would be a hit. And it does 3 bludgeoning, 5 other, because it's a unique.
it's
weapon.
either one. It's either one. So it'd be so what you do if it's a unique weapon, you add half of the bludgeoning to the other. So round it up, I think. So it'd be 7.
That's not even that good. All right. I tried to actually use the rules when creating these folks.
Yeah,
And
that
so
that one got changed, I think, recently.
Yeah, you run out of ability points, man. Even at PL4.
Yep.
Okay, so that would be +7. What did I say? 24 plus 7 will be 31.
Yes. And then whatever his armor is.
What's your armor?
Oh, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have anything against the other, I bet you, so it probably doesn't matter.
No.
That would be 1 point over your mortality threshold then.
Yep.
Gotta roll death roll then.
Okay,
Burn
so
your
death
fate
roll
point.
is- I'm kind of saving that for something.
Well, if you die, then how are you gonna use it? Yeah.
Well, just as he dies, I'm saving it for something. And
If you go to your
is it
wounds
under
tab,
physical?
I think
wounds tab. I was looking for
there
death roll.
should be
Yeah.
a death roll in there. Bo can tell you if you add your mortality level or not. I don't know if we're doing that or not.
Wounds death roll. Add wound
I
level.
want to make it hard. I want to just select base rules. No, I want it to be
Okay,
easier.
so the answer is yes. Add it.
Yeah. Oh, that's dead on.
That means you
Above.
die.
Yeah. So if I can, I would like to spend my fate point to say that as Terenion dies, he grabs hold of Sauron's leg and just kind of slows him down for a second, so that before he can go after the king, he has to kind of unentangle himself from this body.
I'll even let you, because I'm doing a lot of echoes in this campaign from Lord of the Rings and other parts of Silmarillion. How about this is like a smaller version of Fingolfin, and you like hack at his leg like Fingolfin did before.
That would be brilliant. Yeah, definitely.
So tell me what that looks like.
Yeah, so this tremendous blow rains down, just pounds down on Terenion. Just first one he manages to block somehow. The second one just shatters his shield and kind of crushes him into the ground. And just a gout of blood goes everywhere. There's blood just leaking out of his armor everywhere. And he kind of collapses. And Sauron goes to step past him. But as he does, Terenion, kind of choking on his own blood, pulls out Alcamril and breathes one last prayer to Elbereth, and then reaches out with the sword and jabs it into Sauron's calf.
This sharp, hot pain spreads up your arm, Terenion, and you hear this horrible scream, and all the orcs present stop what they're doing as they look at this Noldor who has face down and wounded the chief lieutenant of Morgoth. And it gives them pause. But then, just like Morgoth did with Fingolfin, Sauron takes an iron-shod boot and pushes it down on Terenion's chest. And you just hear him say, as your vision goes blank, "You will die forever." And as he puts his weight onto Terenion, He is crushed beneath the boot of the Dark Lord Sauron. Thus ends Terenion of Dorthonion in the first age of Beleriand.
Somebody screams no.
Oh! Ow! The
Wait,
scene
you can't ask for a more epic way to go out than that.
No way. The scene changes with Estedir and
Better than a
Fingon
wolf, for sure.
Yes.
as they run through the dungeons of Tol-Sirion and eventually come out on this shore, like on the south end of the island. And as they do that, the sun kind of starts to come up over the west. But if you look behind you, Estedir, the place is just completely overrun. And you see Glauron perched upon one of the battlements. And I'll let you kind of role play what's going on. You should be able to see, right?
Yeah.
Terenion?
Uh-huh. Oh, I don't know.
I can't, unfortunately.
Alright, I'll just move you then. There we go.
Thank you.
Estedir runs out with the king. Are the ships ready? Can we see them from here?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. My king, you best head to your ships now. With anyone else still alive, before it's too late.
Forth, forth! To the ships! Few of us remain, and those that choose to stay behind, they may die valiantly. Let us live to sing songs of their glory. To the ships, down the river. Nargothrond awaits us, and beyond the mouths of the Sirion and the sea. Raise praise to the Valar, and may Olmo give us haste. As he says that, like the water level starts to rise in the river as Estedir and Fingon start to board one of the ships. And Estedir, looking back over the castle, you don't see the pyramids. It's totally crumbled at this point. And let you give a little bit of role play more.
Yeah. Estedir is looking back, just having the faintest of hope that somehow Terenion escaped. But as he thinks about it, he knows that his uncle did not want to escape. These last few weeks, at the very least, he knew that he was looking for death. And that he was certain that facing down Sauron, that was what he was going to do, and what he wanted. Enough to slow him down and his forces from catching Fingon as they escaped. He can't really pull his eyes off Tol-Sirion for quite a while the ship is heading south along the river until it is completely out of view. He doesn't say anything to the king or anyone else around him. He just holds his bow next to him and watches as the flames rise, but the sun rise higher, and as they escape.
Fingon Fingon kind of collapses beside you, Estedir, with this distant look in his eyes. Thus falls Tol-Sirion, the last bastion against the enemy. We may hope that the brave deeds of our kin inspire others, but alas, I do not trust to hope. It is to the Valar we must give our hope for the future. He kind of looks over the side of the boat as the water level kind of rises. And Estedir, you see something swirling under the water of the boat.
Yeah, he becomes very concerned, looking over the rail. What is it? What is this?
There's like a wake behind the boat, right? and it gets larger and larger and larger, and Fingon looks out to you and he says, "To arms! To arms!" And like up out of the water, steam behind it, raises Glorong and just shoots flame into the air. As the sun rises, what do you do with Estedir?
I mean, Estedir, he actually stands in front of Fingon, between the dragon and him. Having his bow in his hands, he immediately pulls an arrow. I'm guessing he doesn't have all that many left. And he just like pulls it and aims for its head. I can't really say anything. He's just shocked.
Glorong, like, tail wraps around the other side of the ship, and it grabs a soldier right next to you, Estedir, and you see it, as this guy is just like ripped off the boat into the water. You get sprayed with water, but then something else happens, and you hear the sound of eagles above head, and down from the heavens comes 5 or 6 eagles, and they just start to swoop and swarm around Glorong, and eventually he goes beneath the water, and Thorondor just kind of alights, kind of at the prow of the ship, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of looks at you. He says, "Where is your uncle?"
Estedir shakes his head. He faced Sauron alone, so the king could escape.
And escape he did. Through no small part of your own.
Perhaps I don't know. It's too soon to say what everything meant or happened. But certainly, he saved our retreat for certain.
Fingon actually kneels to Thorondor. He says, "Lord, Lord of the Winds." And then Thorondor looks to Estedir again. "The music of the Ainur is complicated. Notes weave in and out of existence. But now, I have been sent on a different errand." And he kind of bends its left wing over to Estedir, kind of indicating for him to get onto the eagle. "Come now. It does appear that there is business to attend to in the east. Perhaps in another age, in another place you will meet your end. But it is not here in Beleriand. There are vast forests to the east that need tending. And what's more, there are songs that need sung, poetry that needs recited, and stories that need remember. Of your uncle, of the fall of Henry, of the Dagor Bragalact, and the death of Aglor and Engrad. Come now and do not let these stories fall into the sands of history. We must make haste."
Estedir turns. He has tears in his eyes, and he looks to Fingon. "My king, this is where I leave you. I wish you well for the years to come."
He nods. "The lords of the winds are mysterious creatures, Estedir, but their wisdom is beyond reproach. The lore of my people say they still hold counsel with the lords of the west. Manwë, even. provides them wisdom that is beyond me. The High King of the Noldor thanks you for your service. But at this time I release you. It does seem you are needed elsewhere.
I hope our paths once again crossed in the east, my lord. And he simply walks over to Throndir, and for a moment he wonders how physically do I do this, and he kind of awkwardly climbs on and tries to grab on but not grab on. I don't know, not hurt the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks up at it close and says, "Thank you, Lord of the Skies, of the Wind. I know this is no small thing for you to bear me. I will remember this day for the rest of my long years, if they are long." And he kind of closes his eyes for a moment and looks again whenever they begin to take flight.
And take flight indeed. You can give me a little bit of role play as you rise into the air, and the morning sun rises in the east, and Thorondor speeds you over Gondolin, over Dorthonion, over Himring, further and further to the east, to the lands of Middle-earth that we know so well.
Yeah, his eyes open as the great eagle takes flight. He looks into the sun as they head in that direction. His eyes are, for a moment, burning, hard to keep them open. Then suddenly he just looks kind of down over the rising smoke from Tol-Sirion across everything. He looks at Dorthonion as they fly over it, and Ladros and Unfogleaf to the north. And then suddenly, as they go further and further, everything looks at peace the further they get to the east. Eventually, they pass over Arid Luin and into new lands. Certainly the furthest he has ever been. And he looks down at the majestic fields and forests and dotting of small villages and everything that once was the West but will never be again. Sees in the distance the blue sky, no signs of war or of death, just a pure place. And he thinks that this is his new home, and that he hopes to keep it that way, unsoiled by Sauron and his evil in Morgoth. But thinks about what he's left behind, his uncle, dead, certainly. The High King of the Noldor, who he has left, and everyone else. His family, all dead here, or before. He thinks briefly of Galadriel and how she had left him a note that he did not fully understand months ago, that she was making her way to the east. He wonders if it's coincidence or something deep down drew him here because of that. He pushes it out of his head and knows that only he will make good of the Noldor sacrificed in the west to make the east something of a new land that his people could inhabit. He hopes the refugees will find their way here, for he has no hope. And he hopes in the years to come that others will flock to the defense of these lands as well, men and elves. so they might fight back Morgoth and his atrocities that are to come. But he lets himself think of the good things, the Ents which he means to find as soon as possible, the other elves of the Sindar that he has not met, that will be in these lands. And at least he takes solace that Galadriel and even Celeborn have survived. And he closes his eyes again for a while as they fly, and falls into a gentle sleep until the great eagle places him down in somewhere in Middle-earth and lets him rest in a field of tall grass, the sun beating on his face, and peace finally taking him, at least for a time. That's it.
And in the days that followed, Estedir did indeed find peace. For after Thorondor left him, he wandered as of yet unmarred lands of Middle-earth, exploring a realm that would eventually become known as Eregion. And there, once upon a moonlit night, he saw hearth fires up in the mountains. Climbing into the mountains, he found a mountain path. He followed that mountain path until he found what looked to be a great house, beautiful with arches and leaves that glittered in the moonlight. And as he ascended the steps, someone very familiar turned to meet him. And he landed there.
Alright.
Alright. Thank you for playing the first stage, the Doom of Dorthonion. A fitting ending.
Poor uncle. Death wish.
Yeah. Thank you, Bo. That was a perfect ending. That was great.
Very good. Very good. I enjoyed that. Thank you.
It was great because Terenion was was convinced it was the end of the elves and was just looking for a meaningful way to die, really, and he found it. And then Estedir actually gets to go off into the east. So it's perfect.
I gotta find my Ents.
Yeah, I like the way you wrapped it up with him seeing Galadriel again. That was very nicely done.
I don't want that hoe.
Campaign. You form a throuple with her and Celeborn. We'll just write you in. That's some other dude. You're just some other dude in their court just hanging out all the time.
Yeah, so it becomes when in Lord of the Rings it becomes Celeborn says, "Where is Mithrandir?" And then Estedir says, "Well," and goes, "Yeah, where is he?"
He's like always behind Celeborn, just like thumbs down,
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
tiny elvish penis, tiny elvish penis.